Not all portals of the soul are in the heavens. Some, perhaps the most powerful, are hidden within the body itself, woven between tendons, tissues, and bones. Among these secret thresholds, there is one so deeply embedded in our being that it has remained in the shadows of popular knowledge, yet it was never overlooked by the ancient wise. The PSOAS. What if I told you that this long, serpentine muscle connecting your spine to your legs is not only essential for physical movement, but also holds the potential for spiritual elevation, that within its deep, coiled shape lies a vibrational force so profound that when consciously awakened, it can act as an energetic dynamo, igniting the light of the soul and opening inner gateways long forgotten. The PSOAS is like a spiritual fuse. When it's tight, contracted, or neglected, life energy becomes stuck, the body hardens, the heart closes. But when it is released, when the PSOAS softens and flows, a sacred current awakens, one that rises from the depth of the pelvis, moves toward the heart, and continues onward to activate the pineal gland, expand memory, and elevate consciousness. It is the hidden pathway of Kundalini, the secret axis of creative energy. In this video, we are going to lift the veil that has kept the PSOAS concealed in its deeper, esoteric role. We won't discuss it merely as a physical structure. We will honor it as what it truly is, a bridge between the physical and the ethereal, a bodily key that activates the soul and aligns us with our divine blueprint. We will explore its origins from a spiritual perspective across ancient cultures, its interaction with the lower chakras, and how unlocking this energetic core not only enhances posture and well-being, but reawakens the dormant flame of the spirit. You'll see how breath, conscious movement, and focused awareness can transform the PSOAS into a channel for ascending energy. This knowledge is not new, it's ancient, but it has been buried beneath centuries of mechanical thinking and disconnection from the living wisdom of the body. Today, I invite you to remember what your soul already knows, that within you is a muscle not only designed to carry your body, but to lift your being toward the light that has always lived within. Get ready to listen to your body as a sacred temple, and to the PSOAS as its most sacred bell. From the modern scientific lens, the body is often viewed as a machine, muscles contracting, joints rotating, organs fulfilling their tasks. But the ancients never saw the body this way. To them, every part of the human anatomy was symbolic, each organ, each structure a portal, a teaching, a mirror of the cosmos. And within this sacred view, the PSOAS was far more than a muscle. It was the secret axis of sacred vitality. In the mystery schools of Egypt, Greece, India, and Taoist China, the human body was seen as a microcosm of the universe. There was no separation between body and spirit. Though the PSOAS was not named in modern anatomical terms, it was energetically linked to the central channel of life force, known in the East as Sushumna, the path through which Kundalini rises. In many tantric traditions, Kundalini rests coiled at the base of the spine, precisely where the PSOAS anchors into the body. Coincidence? The ancients would say no. In Taoist internal alchemy, this same region was known as the dwelling of the sleeping dragon, waiting to rise from the lower belly. Its awakening would light up the body's energy centers, bringing health, inner wisdom, and spiritual power. The perineum, the lower dantian, and the deep pelvic muscles surrounding this zone were trained through breathwork, postures, inner sound, and visualization, all of which activated the region of the PSOAS, even without naming it. To them, the PSOAS was the vibrational root of the soul within the body. In Western esotericism, there were references to the lamp of God burning deep in the belly. Certain Gnostic teachings spoke of the soul being anchored in 3 points: the head, the heart, and what they called the hidden fire center at the root of the flesh, a clear reference to the lumbar plexus, home of the PSOAS. Modern science is only beginning to glimpse its importance. Today, Some researchers call it the muscle of the soul because of its close link to the autonomic nervous system, the diaphragm, digestion, and overall posture. But what science sees as a physiological discovery, the ancient initiates already recognized as a spiritual revelation. The PSOAS, due to its direct connection with both the spine and the diaphragm, also modulates conscious breath and thus grants access to meditative and ecstatic states. If the diaphragm is the bellows, the PSOAS is the base that holds the sacred flame. This ancient wisdom was never taught as mere theory. It was a living practice. The ancients knew that energy could not be thought, it had to be felt, inhabited, awakened. And in that awakening, the PSOAS was not just tissue, it was the entryway into the inner temple of the soul. To truly grasp the power of the PSOAS, you must stop thinking of the body as machinery. Begin to imagine it as a sacred structure, a living cathedral, every bone a pillar, every organ an altar, every muscle a circuit of divine transmission. The PSOAS, often ignored in conversations about health or spirituality, is in fact one of the deepest muscles in the human body. It stretches from the lumbar spine to the femur, linking the upper and lower body. But this link is not just biomechanical, it is alchemical. The PSOAS is the hidden bridge between earth and sky within the human form. Why call it the dynamo of the soul? Because a dynamo is a generator of energy, a spiral in motion that transforms one form of power into another. When the PSOAS is engaged with conscious intent, it transforms grounded, physical energy into rising spiritual current. It allows us to root in the earth so we may rise into higher realms of perception. When this muscle is relaxed, open, and toned in balance, it allows vital energy, the serpentine force of kundalini or chi, to flow freely from the base of the spine, through the heart, and up to the third eye. But when the PSOAS is tight, weak, or ignored, it becomes an energetic block. The result, chronic fatigue, unexplained anxiety, spiritual disconnection, and tightness in the solar plexus. Think of the PSOAS as a channel through which water flows up from a deep well. When the channel is clear, the water rises and nourishes the entire field. When blocked, everything dries up. The soul, in its attempt to express itself in matter, needs this channel. It needs a body that is awake and available. And here's something even more profound. The PSOAS acts as a storehouse for emotional memory because it's linked to the autonomic nervous system. It holds the residue of unprocessed emotions, especially fear, survival trauma, and insecurity. It's like a hidden journal where the body writes what the conscious mind was unwilling to face. This is why conscious work with the PSOAS through breath, fluid movement, and embodied meditation can release long-held emotions. It can lead to spontaneous tears, inner visions, or a deep feeling of release and reconnection. The PSOAS also supports the root chakra, your energetic center for security, belonging, and connection to earth. When this muscle is activated with spiritual intention, it becomes the ignition switch of your inner light. It strikes the spark that begins the alchemy of awakening. And perhaps the most powerful image, the PSOAS, is like a torch buried deep in the darkness of the body. It's not enough to know it exists. You must approach it, breathe into it, move with reverence, and awaken it. And when you do, it doesn't just light up the body, it sets the soul ablaze. From the very roots. This is just the first layer of understanding. Now let's go deeper. What actually happens when the PSOAS is awakened as an energetic center? How does energy flow through it? What does it transform, and where does it lead us? When the PSOAS is activated with intention, we're not merely releasing muscular tension, we are igniting a column of ancient fire within. This fire doesn't burn, it transmutes. Its heat dissolves what's stagnant, hidden, suppressed. It allows spiritual consciousness to rise from the deepest layers of physical embodiment. Imagine the PSOAS as a golden thread, woven into the fabric of your being. It connects the primal instincts at the base of your spine with the intuitive insight of the mind's eye. Its awakening is not a local event, it is expansive. It reverberates through every layer of the self. It's as if you're opening a vertical portal through which your soul can finally move freely from the energetic womb to the crown. One of the most mysterious effects of PSOAS activation is the release of ancestral patterns. The PSOAS doesn't just store your personal emotions, it also holds epigenetic memories from your lineage. When this muscle is spiritually engaged, it may initiate a deep cleansing of inherited energies. You might experience symbolic dreams, emotions without a clear origin, or flashbacks that don't seem to belong to your own timeline. It's as if your bloodline speaks through your body, asking to be seen, heard, and finally released. This clearing also facilitates the upward flow of energy through the second chakra Svadhisthana, toward the solar plexus, Manipura, and into the heart center Anahata. The result is a powerful inner alchemy. Raw desire becomes creative force, instinct becomes wisdom, and passion transforms into vision. This is the moment many practitioners speak of feeling the serpent fire, the rising divine energy. It's not a myth. It's a tangible experience that arises when body and soul come into alignment. The PSOAS becomes a spiritual instrument, capable of lifting sexual energy into higher, devotional frequencies. This transmutation has been sought by yogis, alchemists, and mystics across time, not to deny desire, but to offer it to the divine, not to repress, but to elevate, to breathe it into creation, into sacred presence. A key to this process is breathwork, but not ordinary breathing. It's breath infused with attention, intention, and reverence. When you inhale deeply and focus awareness at the base of the spine, you stimulate the PSOAS from within. On the exhale, you guide the energy upward, visualizing a luminous pillar of light rising through your chakras. With repetition, this simple yet sacred practice strengthens the bridge between body and soul. It expands your magnetic field. It roots your consciousness in the physical while opening it to the mystical. And then something magical happens. When the PSOAS is open and awakened, the entire body becomes receptive to healing, to intuition, to synchronicities. Anxieties soften, the inner voice becomes clearer, and you begin to live from a place of grounded presence. It's as if the soul, once cramped in tight corners, can now finally stretch and inhabit its temple. But a word of caution: awakening the PSOAS is not a mechanical routine. It's a dance with the invisible. It requires presence, reverence, and a deep willingness to listen. You're not stretching a muscle, you're calling to a sleeping spirit within. You're inviting it, gently, to rise. Ultimately, working with the PSOAS is about learning to navigate the mystery of the body with the same respect you would offer a sacred site. Because when the PSOAS is lit, the entire body sings, and that song is not physical, it's the soul remembering itself. In an era where people seek to elevate consciousness through books, workshops, or external methods, we often forget what's most immediate. The soul lives in the tissues. The body is not a hindrance to spirituality, it is its vessel, its conductor, its language. And the PSOAS, this humble and hidden core, is the key to unlocking that language. So where do you begin? Here are 5 living practices to help awaken your PSOAS, not just for physical health, but to open invisible doors to your essence. First, breathe from the root. Sit or lie down with a straight spine. Bring your awareness to the space between your navel and pelvis. As you inhale, visualize energy entering through the base of your spine, flowing along the path of the PSOAS like a river of light. As you exhale, feel it rise, cleansing, nourishing, illuminating each energetic center. Go slowly. This is not about oxygen, it's about sacred presence. Second, listen to your body, don't force it. Instead of mechanical stretches, explore gentle, conscious movements, slow pelvic circles, soft spinal waves, organic dance. Allow your body to guide you, sometimes. Awakening the PSOAS unlocks deep emotional reservoirs. You might shake, pause, or weep. This is not dysfunction, it's release. Your only task is to hold space with compassion. Third approach, with intention. The PSOAS is a spiritual organ. Treat it as such. Before practicing, close your eyes and offer an invocation, something simple, like I open this channel to release what no longer serves and to allow the light to rise within me. That one phrase can change the quality of your connection. Fourth, use sound as a liberating vibration. Mantras, bowls, or deep vowel sounds like AUM directed toward the pelvic area can dislodge energetic stagnation in the PSOAS. Sound goes where thought cannot, and when it resonates within, it's as if the muscle remembers its sacred function to serve the soul. Fifth, tend to your emotional life as you do your body. The PSOAS shuts down under chronic fear, hyper-control, and disconnection from nature. Cultivate trust in life. Walk barefoot. Embrace your emotions without judgment. These are not secondary to practice, they are the practice. Your energetic system cannot rise if your heart is at war with what you feel. Finally, remember, this is not a quick fix. Awakening the PSOAS as a spiritual dynamo is an initiation, not a technique. It demands consistency, tenderness, and devotion. But each day you dedicate to this inner center is a gift to your soul. Because in the end, it's not the body that awakens the PSOAS, it's the luminous being within, finally ready to be born again, but this time with awareness. Not all doors to the divine are above you. Some are closer, quieter, more humble, so close. In fact, they pulse beneath your skin. The PSOAS, this muscle forgotten by much of modern thinking, returns now to its rightful throne, not as a simple anatomical connector, but as a sacred torch, a living flame buried deep within, waiting to be kindled. Throughout this journey, we've come to understand the PSOAS is more than a physical hinge. It is a vertical axis, a bridge between the earthly and the subtle, a silent string tying instinct to awakening. When consciously activated, it doesn't just release muscle tension, it releases memory, transforms emotion, and initiates the ascent of inner fire. Ancient traditions never separated body and spirit. The alchemists, the yogis, the sacred dancers, they all knew the light of the soul cannot rise unless the roots are awake. And in many cultures, it was the PSOAS, the hidden gate at the core, that marked the beginning of that ascent. That's why they revered it, they trained it, they listened to it, as you would listen to an inner oracle. Today, amid the noise of modern life, we're offered a sacred opportunity to return to this embodied wisdom, not as a passing trend, but as a path of true liberation. And you don't need elaborate tools to begin. You only need the willingness to pause, to feel, and to inhabit the temple of your flesh, where spirit yearns to speak. So let us ground this teaching in one final offering, a reminder of how simple, sacred action can reshape your inner world. When you take time to connect with your PSOAS, with respect, with clarity, with love, you are sending a powerful signal into the universe. You're saying, I am ready to carry my light. I am willing to anchor my soul into this life. And when that declaration is made not through words, but through presence, your life begins to reorganize itself. Not because the world outside changes, but because you have become a clearer vessel, more stable, more awake. Never underestimate the power of the subtle. Sometimes, a single conscious breath at the base of your spine can shift more than 1,000 thoughts sometimes. A few minutes of presence in your center can awaken a forgotten knowing that your body is not an accident, that it was chosen, that it is sacred. So here is my invitation, offered with reverence. Explore this mystery. Give time, presence, and gentleness to your PSOAS, and observe, watch how, slowly, your energy rises, how your fears soften, how your spirit begins to hum in silence. Because when the PSOAS awakens, you don't just move differently, you exist differently. And if this message has stirred something within you, I invite you to join this growing community of souls who remember that the body is not a prison, but a portal. Subscribe to the channel, offer this video a like if it has touched your energy, and share it with those who you feel are ready to remember. Because every soul that awakens others, and every body that is honored uplifts the fabric of humanity. Let this be your turning point, not toward the heavens, but inward, down into the roots, into the core, into the place where your spirit has always been waiting, not above, but within.